Hi and welcome back to MDriven. So this is the second part of the reverse engineering to model video, and I promised that it would continue to build a user interface for the reverse engineer database that we had done. So this is the second part of that video. So we start by adding a new view model. Giving it a good name, search products. And we're gonna say that it is rooted in product type. Now I'll take the UI first option to quickly just use the logic from the auto forms that will create a seeker form for me. This just cleans in the model and make a search UI for everything available. It's a bit much, but it's fast. So I can simply go like this and then reduce it and remove the things that I think is that aren't needed. And I can also move things around, etc. to better get what an appropriate seeker for me. And the whole idea with the seeker is something to find the products with. Once I'm happy with that, I can upload that model, and since I also run a turnkey server, I have an address for that, and now it complains that I need an index model for turnkey to show anything, or a view model named index. So I can simply add one of those. There's a set of minimum requirements in order to have turnkey work for you. The type on the index page could be any type in the model. It's not important. I'm just going to add a label here to show so that we know that this works. So this is the expression, just a string constant saying this is the index, and uploading that model. What's happening now is that goes to the MDriven server, which in turn the turnkey server listens on. So now we have the UI with the search products, and we can search. And since that was connected to our reversed database, it will work to search for products, and we can filter things that follow that will filter according to the rules in our search view model. And yeah, what's gonna happen when we double click one of those search rows? Yes, we would want to bring up one product, I guess, but of course we can work this way, but there's a quicker way to just get the feel for the information, and that's using the auto forms. So we'll just ask the model to populate with an auto form for each class that we have in the model. having done so, I can see that there's a lot of forms created for me, and all of these are prefixed with autoforms. They are in a special category, and it's easy to drop them if you don't want them anymore. Or you can just copy them and work with them to get what you want. And this means that there are some actions created that actually builds connections to the document forms. Now I search for addresses and I can see all the data this way, and double click and I see a generated form for just that object. And this is the object for a particular, or the form for a particular product. And I can follow associations to other objects, and this was the very similar to what we did in the debugger in the prior video. And if we were to inspect this form for product, so this was the seeker and that was the autoform product. We can see that all the attributes without any discretion has been put on screen. But we will want to have a bit more control, so we just create a new product form of our own. Let's call this my product view, and this is rooted in product then. Also, I will check this box to say that this is actually requiring an object to show. The seeker doesn't require an object, but this one will. A particular product to show, and I can use the logic to get this template stamped up for me if I want, but I guess I don't want, because we've seen that, so we're gonna start from a blank view model instead. So I just did undo on that, and then I'm gonna use these functions that will show me what's available in the model, and pick field by field or attribute by attribute. Now I also want to add an action, a class action for show will probably be good. Class action means that everyone that all objects of this class will have this action. So whenever a product is shown, the action show my product view will pop up and show my window. So if I upload that model and go to the application, I will now be able to search for products, and whenever I pick one product, I can see that my action with my UI defined, my design UI shows up. Of course, this UI is currently limited, and yeah, we want the product model and the product subcategory, and we probably want to pick those as combo boxes or switch boxes, or what you call them, and those are single links with setter for us, and since there are single links in the model, they show up nicely in this wizard. So single link with setter, product subcategory as well, and we see here that we get to switch boxes for that. just uploading that model and checking out how it turns out. Okay, looks like there's a lot of product models, but they are defined really, and also product subcategory is defined a bit iffy. So what controls what shows there? Well, one easy thing to control it is to set the default string representation of the object. Whenever one of these objects is addressed with the operator as string, what should we do? And why not say the name of the product model? Yes. And for the product subcategory, well, let's say the name on that as well. So these expressions are OCL expressions, and they are often this simple, just self as the object-oriented this or something. And now we have a good representation in the switch boxes. So it's quite easy to get a switch box going in your web UI this way. But we might want responsiveness and flexibility, and to get that going we will use what we call placing containers. That's a bit more information on how the different columns, as we call these view model columns, should relate to each other. So it's easy to build up a hierarchy of these, which we call placing containers. And this will render, if you know HTML, this will render much like flexboxes, and all the properties available on flexboxes, like justify content and align items and grow, etc., will be available for you here. So it's possible to define any type of structure that you see fit in order to control the view. So again, I upload the changed model. And I can see that it wraps when it doesn't fit, etc. So just to verify that that kind of logic is working. And showing a multi-link, so the bill of materials we had on our diagram. So I'm gonna add that in a new placing container, and this probably shouldn't be a row, should it? Yeah. So what's this grid? Since it's a multi-link, it will be rendered as a table like this, but what should it contain? And again, since everything is model driven, I can just pick and choose from what's available for me, and I can follow single links to see what's available one step away. But of course I can add my own generic columns as well to get to create any expression I see fit on what data it should show in the grid. And if I double click on one of the bill of material rows, that will go into my auto forms, since all the classes are represented in the auto forms. But I also want to add a product photo to this one, so that's named product photo. I need to find that one to add it here. So it's a multi-link and product photo. I choose that one. So there's another table added here, and what's the thing that we're gonna show? Well, we're gonna show the thumbnail photo, and I'm gonna remove the default one as string because I'm not interested in that. Let's see how that turns out. Now it ends up down here. Of course, obvious when you see the design. I'm gonna move it up there, and also maybe but there's a bit of clunkiness to it, so let's remove the header at least. Yeah, and I can do a placing container representation of that table, so instead of having everything show up as or this thing showing up as a table, it should show up as just a control. So now it's just a bike there, thumbnail photo. If there had been many photos, they had become a list of photos then. So one of the things that we have, even if this is a fairly fast way to develop a UI, you have data, you have just a few clicks to change the representation. It's still a bit cumbersome to needing to upload a model to see things happen. So that's the reason behind the visivig function that we have incorporated into this button called Live Edit, and that brings the web design UI front seat, so it's more focused on web development. And let's see what we need to do to get that running. First we need yet another MDriven turnkey core installation, and that's dedicated to running the designer, visivig designer. So I just checked that I had the latest, and then I can connect that to my MDriven server where all my data is, because it's important to have data if you're gonna do any serious design. And then I just start it towards my this port here, and within this view model editor there's a web view showing the application, and now it looks just as it did in the browser, but I could click this this live edit, and then I see the view model tree directly, and if I do changes here I can immediately see the effect over here. So now I didn't like how this search box or this search UI looked, so I'm redoing that as placing containers as well to get a better control of how things are displayed. So I'm moving the grid down to the column and having the search box and the filter on top. And this is an even faster way to work because there's no upload step, etc. It just circumvent most of the things that we need to communicate with the server. It communicates with the dedicated turnkey server directly. So this will be good for fast iterations to get things done really quickly. And since the application pretty much works as is, I can just click and go into the next view, so I can follow navigations, etc. to get things working for me. So on the bill of materials, I want to maybe when a bill of material consists of another product, I would like to jump to this view for that product. And for that to work, I need to assign an action that is triggered to jump into back to this view, because the bill of materials are actually so for the sub-product I can see that they are of type bill of materials, but they have an association to the product, and that's the one that I want to show when someone double clicks a row of bill of material. So I'm adding a new view model action for that and calling that show sub product, and the bring up view model should be my view model, my product view, and I then want to state which object it should use. And since I'm on a view model action, I actually need to say that this is the current row of the bill of materials that I want to use. This is the syntax for that. There's an automatic variables created that points out the currency of all grids and everything like that, so you can easily find it in your expressions. So I'm saying that the double clicked row will be the vCurrent bill of materials, and from that I want to follow it along this association that ends up in a product. So the expression is simple, it's just the component ID, and I can see that that ends up in a product. So show the sub-product jumps to that product, and then I can use the browse back button to go back to the original one and check the front derailleur, whatever that is, and follow to that sub-product if there's any. It would be neat to only have search box return products with that has images. So how can I do that? I'm gonna clear up some of the search expressions. The way the search expressions work is quite straightforward, but what does it mean to have multiple search expressions? Well, it's an order of precedence. If nothing is found on the first, the next one is taken, etc. To make the appearance of a really complex search available for the user. Just type in anything in a search box, but it can match a lot of things. So it's a good strategy to reduce the work on the user, but increase the work on the software, just as it should be. So I'm gonna do some manual changes to these expressions in order to make them find only products that has images. And looks like I achieved that there, maybe. So what you always can do if you find yourself in a spot that you don't get the data that you really want is to use the debugger. It's making the OCL expressions easily available for you. So you can just pick a let's do the product photos to see which product photos there are. Search from all, going the other way from these product photos. I'm going to product and reducing it as a set, so if multiple products has the same photo, it will only show once. And these operators should be explained good on the wiki, and so all of these products should have a product image. But I wonder if there's any special trick to know if they have an image or not. So maybe finished goods isn't actually checked, so that is not a good indicator that they have an image. And also the make flag isn't checked, so need to find so I can just click up objects here to see if anything makes sense to me. How can I decide if something has a picture or not? If I search on this, show it, it still says no image available. So the no image available is actually an image in itself. I can see that if I click this one up and follow the link back to the product photo, I can see, that explains things. So I probably need to filter on the large photo file name, or maybe thumbnail photo name. And if it has this name, no image available, then I probably don't want that. So now I sort of know what kind of expression I should create. And what I did there, switching to PS, is making sure that this is an expression that actually executes as SQL and not in memory, because that will be slower. So I want to translate this into SQL and then send that to the MDriven server that returns just the rows that match this criteria. And the thumbnail photo name should not be no image available small GIF. If I can't filter away everything that has that, I would end up with products that has for sure product photos. Good. That's the expression that I want to use. So I can take that expression which I've worked out in the debugger and paste it in my seeker. As a criteria additional to the product number. And I want all of these expressions to also filter on if the product image actually exists. And whenever I click one now and show my product view, I'm sure it will show one that has an image. Okay, that's all I'm gonna show for this, but of course you know that you can spend hours on this doing minor changes to get what you need. But it's quite gratifying to always have an effect and moving forward towards your product goals. Thank you for listening.